What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to preview round 11. It's Port Adelaide versus North Melbourne in Hobart this weekend. It's going to be an interesting game down in Tassie, and you might be sitting there thinking, why and how can you possibly preview Port Adelaide versus North Melbourne? A bottom-ranked side, hasn't won a game all year, and it's coming up against a Port Adelaide side that's just come off one of the greatest comebacks of all time. Simple, really. It's Port Adelaide, and regardless of the opposition, there's always a sense of a little bit of curiosity, question marks. So, yeah, we come straight into this one. Fairly confident, but regardless, it's going to be still an interesting game down in Tassie. So let's get straight into it and preview round 11. Part 2 of Sir Doug Nicholls' round, and as you would have seen on the Port Adelaide socials, they're wearing the white rendition of the Indigenous guernsey, which absolutely looks fantastic, by the way. It's absolute fire. And, it's something about the white that brings out a lot of the, the colours and the design. I think in recent past we've had white guernseys and it's not really looked fantastic to the eye, whereas this time, there's something about it that really stands out. So I'm really, really interested and intrigued why we've gone with the white one this week, and why it's been announced so late. Because normally we wear black against North Melbourne, so unless it's to do with we would have worn white shorts with the Indigenous guernsey or something like that, I'm not sure. But it's fairly interesting, the choice that we've made there. But regardless, I think it looks great, and it's definitely a nice guernsey to represent part 2 of Sir Doug Nicholls' round. Just to cover a few things quickly, obviously Connor Rosie will be back this week. That's a fairly given task for him, and Charlie Dixon will miss being rested. It's that time of the year, so it seems to be the plan is every 6 rounds, which is intriguing because the bye's coming up next week after Carlton, so he would have only had to play 2 more games, but I guess rest him for after a 6-day turnaround against the Blues next Thursday night after North Melbourne, and then you have another bye, and he'll be ready to go for the second half of the year. So an interesting plan there, which means selection is an interesting topic, which I'll get straight into. Obviously with Sin coming straight out as well with his collarbone, which is unfortunate because he's been really handy, I think, since coming into the side. He's had moments, and definitely last week, attacking the footy and hit a few targets inside 50 as well. We've seen glimpses of him, and if he has a fair crack and a fair run, he'll definitely cement his spot in the side. And I think with that aspect, it's a bit of a shame that he comes out, which means that there's a fairly fairly good replacement coming back in with Lockie Jones. That's a like for like for me. I think Lockie, after his hamstring, comes back in, and I think the other one obviously is Connor Rosie, as I mentioned, and Dixon going out. I think that's the only 2 changes. I'll be intrigued to see if we go with 2 rucks, which means another player has to come out. And the way Jackson Mead's been playing, I don't want to replace a midfielder. I think the way Jed McEntee's been playing, especially the last 2 weeks, don't really want to make him sub, which means it's a tough choice. I don't think you make Zerk Thatcher a sub again. So it's an interesting decision for the selection panel this week. Do we go smaller, run with Dante again, or against Cherry? We obviously have an informed ruck again, and do you probably bring in Sweet, who dominated at sample level, for Dante, who found out a bigger body last week with Meek, sort of doing him well in the hit out range. But Dante's performance was by no means bad. It definitely was great on the floor, and I think his crumbing work and his second, third, fourth efforts separate him from the rest of the other 2. So in terms of the ruck, so I think I do not want to be in the selection panel this week. I think my instincts suggest that it'll be near 3 changes: Rosie, Jones, Sweet for Dante, Sin, and Dixon. I think we go smaller. We obviously have the 3 tools already with Finlace and Marshall and Georgiadis. You can run with that. That's fine. I think you want to run with having that smaller forward line, especially down in Tassie. It can be quite windy, and there's a lot of crumbing forwards. I remember last year, and we only had Dixon didn't play last year either, and we ended up winning quite well. So I think Similar sort of structure again. Yeah, they don't have the most promising back line, and I think overall that you just, I think you just run with that and, yeah, see what happens. I think you have enough scoring power regardless against North Melbourne. For me, obviously, Larky as well, down in their forward half and down back for us. The defence has been pretty iffy all year, in my opinion, and they've been put under the pump. This is where the midfield has to stand up, I think, around the contest. This is where the game plan falls apart, in my opinion, is around the contest. We get beaten, we put our defence under the pump, and we can't keep doing that. If we want a good structured defence, a team defence, it's got to start from the contest, start from the midfield, and work around the ground and work extra hard. That's where the likes of Bergman come into play and play that intercept mark. Lear gets his free run. You know, they have Houston as well. You know, they have this. We have this magnificent intercept game with so many players that can play that role. Yet it's put under the pump constantly because of our contest and the way we're playing. So, for me, that's the biggest focus for this week is the contest, the midfield, and the pressure around the ground. If we can cement that well, North Melbourne will crumble quite quickly, and I think we win. So. That's my thoughts on this game overall, and there's not a lot to think about this week. It is one thing. It is, though. It is Jason Horne-Francis' 50th game, and it's very, very funny that he's playing North in Tassie, which a big congratulations to him. He's obviously played a magnificent year this year. Borderline for me in the conversation for all Australians. If he has another couple of good games, another couple of clutch moments, I think he's definitely in the conversation. But regardless, I think a fantastic result for him to play 50 games after what he's been through and everything. And big congratulations. Looking forward to seeing him run out against his old team and show him one or two. All right, my tips for this week. I think Port Adelaide win comfortably. I think I'm tipping a Port Adelaide win by 55 points. I don't see any real challenge from North. But in saying that, this could be a one of those very, very ugly 30-point wins, and we just run away with it. Essendon won by 40 last week. It was a pretty interesting game. They only led by 7 at half time, so you never know. Obviously, another interesting stat is North have not kicked a goalless quarter this year, whereas the rest of the competition have. So maybe that's our goal this week as well. We end that streak for them. Regardless, I'm not going to talk super confidently about this one. I am confident we win. But yeah, obviously, I don't want to showcase anything that I'm thinking other than we should win this game and put it in the book, ready for a big game next week against Carlton. Well, there you have it, Port fans and everyone else watching. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's preview. I really appreciate all the support from the videos this week from last week's mega win against DBJ. So make sure you subscribe to the channel for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, can't the pair.